We are live.
Good morning, everyone. This is Pranati Trivedi, team member of Kaash Foundation and lead reporter of Kaash Connect, which is our quarterly newsletter. On behalf of Kaash Foundation, I heartily welcome you all to the 7th International Conference organized by Kaash Foundation Center of Academic and Professional Development in collaboration with Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute, University of Mumbai, on strategy to strengthen industry-academia collaboration in emerging economy. Kaash Foundation's first international event was the multidisciplinary conference on tradition, transition and transformation cities in life, literature and culture on 17th and 18th February. The conference was held in collaboration with University of Mumbai's Institute of Distance and Open Learning in Mumbai. Encouraged by its success, the second International Symposium Webinar Conference on Concerns, Complexities and Dialogues in Religious Philosophy was organized by Kaash Foundation's CAPD in collaboration with Vidya Kirti Foundation, Universitas Hindu Indonesia, Archaeological Institute of Afghanistan, and Indian Council of Historical Research on 12th of May. On 25th May 2020, the third international conference was organized by Kaash Foundation on the theme of colossal and collateral challenges for sustainable environment in alliance with University of Ottawa, Canada. We also conducted in collaboration with Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Global Knowledge Academic Spain, and St. Andrews Center for Philosophy and Performing Arts, the fourth international conference on trajectories and intersections of writings in history and literature, which was conducted on 30th May. Kaash Foundation CAPD conducted its fifth international conference on the theme of colossal and collateral challenges for sustainable environment in collaboration with University of Al-Azhar, Iran, and Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth Velyanand, Kerala on 3rd June. Kaash Foundation also organized its sixth international conference on emerging trends of research in art, aesthetics, and social sciences on 8th of June. Our collaborators for the conference were Global Knowledge Academic Spain and Sagar University, Madhya Pradesh. The first international FDP, that is Faculty Development Program, was also successfully organized from 25th May to 30th May, which was a 6-day event in collaboration with the Directorate of Archaeology and Museums, Government of Maharashtra. I once again welcome you all to the 7th International Conference organized by Kaash Foundation's CAPD in collaboration with ADMIST University of Mumbai on strategy to strengthen industry-academia collaboration in emerging economy. We also welcome Matilda from Vishesh. She is our sign language interpreter for today and will constantly be present live to aid our audience, making today's conference the first of its kind to promote inclusivity. Matilda has a degree in engineering from Chennai. She has been training deaf candidates for job-based environments for the past 4 years in Vishesh. She has attended Indian Sign Language Certification course from ISLRTC, Delhi. She interprets for diverse sectors including academic environments, corporate meetings, conferences, job interviews, business meetings of world organizations, and central and state government programs. She is fluent in Indian Sign Language and English with superior sign to voice and voice to sign. She has a handful of experience in conducting sign languages sessions for top MNC's inclusion program. We would like to thank Vishesh for aiding us in Kaash Foundation's endeavor to promote inclusivity. I would now like to invite Dr. Kavita Pandey to take the proceedings further, please.
Thank you, Praniti. There is a famous proverb which says, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is a success. On behalf of Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute for Financial and Management Studies, University of Mumbai, and Kaash Foundation, it is my pride and privilege to welcome all the respected dignitaries, participants from industry, academic institutions, placement offices, and students for this most enriching and relevant international CEO webinar on strategy to strengthen industry academia collaborations in emerging economy. Industry academia collaborations are always a very ambitious topic of study. But in current scenario where market is volatile, uncertain and disruptive in nature as well, the need for a strong industry, academia and alumni collaboration is imperative to create an inclusive business environment across globe. The collaborations between these three agencies are relevant to build excellence in business models, modernization in business and academia approaches, to inculcate self-reliance among youth to increase their employability quotient. However, having said so, we are aware that industry academia collaboration requires careful management and holistic view of all the agile and innovation ecosystem factors. In last 79 years under lockdown, there are many webinars organized by different agencies on various academic and industry topics. But a detailed analysis was missing from the global and multidisciplinary perspective to strengthen industry academia collaborations. With this background, ADMIS University of Mumbai and Kaash Foundation have decided to organize International CEO webinar, and we are very elated to see a huge response which indicate the importance of this webinar. Our each August dignitary not only has rich and varied experience to lead their business at global level, but they are also a truly inspiring figure of hard work, resilience and experts in the given theme. I welcome Mr. Makarand Patil, the founder of Big Business Advisors Private Limited and MMS alumni of ADMIS University of Mumbai, batch 2002 to 2004. Mr. Amit Goenka, founder of Nissu's Finance and Investment Managers and Nissu's FinCorp Private Limited. Mr. Paresh Seth, founder of Indus One Advantage, and Mr. Nachiket Naik, the head of corporate lending at Arca FinCap Limited, which was formerly a part of Kirloskar Capital Limited. We look forward to have a fruitful session covering on the dynamic interactive approaches to strengthen industry academia and alumni collaboration. Over to you, Praniti.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. I now invite Dr. Kaash Jadhav, the founder trustee of Kaash Foundation and director CAPD. Dr. Jadhav has been instrumental in the organization of all the conferences. From 12th of May to 12th of June, which is today, exactly a month, Kaash Foundation has successfully organized 7 international events and 3 medical webinars. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pranati, for the introduction. And I once again welcome all our CEOs. It is generally said that good resolutions are simply checks that men draw on a bank where they have no account, by Oscar Wilde. And I think these 4 illustrious CEOs who will be with us today, this quote of Oscar Wilde, in fact, suits them quite better. Kaash Foundation is an NGO which was established in October 2019, which primarily works on 4 verticals: E2, H2, education, environment, health, and heritage. We look forward to giving back to society rather than drawing. We look forward to engaging in the energies and channelize the forces around us for a better tomorrow. Under the aegis of Kaash Foundation, we have inaugurated Allied branch, which is Center for Academic and Professional Development. And the primary objectives of Center for Academic and Professional Development are to provide opportunities for academic excellence to faculty and education institutions, through quality improvement systems, optimal delivery models, and to create avenues of possibility of collaborative research. Then to provide best practices to enhance teaching skills and professional development by conducting workshops, seminars, conferences, and faculty development programs. To provide suggestions, recommendations, resources, and training programs to institutions, organizations seeking to strengthen, upgrade, and increase their footfalls in the academic and international circles. To create opportunities for students by helping them to identify potentials and develop their core skills. to interact with the participants, and also to learn through foreign exchange programs. So at Kaash Foundation, we are looking at a very integrated development, a very holistic development as such. Kaash Foundation has taken up the task of engaging in various academic activities. And while interacting with students at various scale, what we realize is that in the process, when the teachers are upgrading themselves and updating themselves, the students, that the customer is left behind. The youth today is also trying to navigate what their life would be after COVID-19's end. And here we thought we'll at least provide this small opportunity for them to know, to learn, and to identify themselves. We want to, in fact, call this International CEO webinar with a theme called Hope and Scope. We definitely have very strong hope for the youth in due course, and we definitely also would generate some kind of a scope for them where they will have a sustainable life. So with this, I once again welcome all the dignitaries and all the panelists who have been encouraging us for this kind of an event as such. I also thank on behalf of Kaash Foundation, the director in charge, Dr. Smita Shukla, for giving a consent to be the collaborative partner for this, and also Professor Kavita, who has very successfully managed to bridge this entire negotiation between Kaash Foundation and Alkesh Dinesh. So I welcome you all once again, and let's have a very fruitful, encouraging, and engaging session. Pranati, over to you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Smita Shukla, Director IC, ADMIS, to deliver the inaugural speech.
Thank you, Pranati, and thank you, Dr. Kaash Yadav, for this collaborative program. I welcome all the CEOs who are part of the panel today. Shri Makrand Patil, who is our alumnus and is also founder Business Intelligence Group. In addition to that, he is also founder of a unique Om Namo app, which is an online initiative. I welcome Shri Amit Goenka ji, founder Nessus Finance. Shri Paresh Sheth ji, founder Indus Advantage. Shri Nachiket Nayak, head corporate lending, Arca Finance. Later part of the day, Dr. Rajesh Kharath, who is my senior colleague and Dean of Humanities University of Mumbai, will also be joining in. I also thank Matilda from Vishesh, who has been organizing when you talk about inclusion, the inclusion part of this program, she's taking care of that. I'll welcome all participants who are today part of this activity. I'll say that the program theme which has been decided, which is a strategy to strengthen industry, academia, collaboration and emerging economy, today is extremely relevant given the situation of the markets, as well as when you talk about practical continuation of whether it is academic practices or whether it is corporate practices. This is definitely a tough market. I'll not like to name an institution, but there was a mail which came to my inbox. This is from a very reputed corporate institution from the public sector, which regretted that they will not be able to, say for example, offer online internship this term, given the scenario. For me, that was slightly disappointing because at this time, what we are looking forward to, whether it is corporate entities or whether it is academic entities, an approach that how do you adjust and go along with these tough scenarios and still deliver. And that is possibly what is the tone of this discussion today, that how do you continue fruitful industry academia collaboration in emerging markets. I'll just briefly also talk about my institution, Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute for Financial and Management Studies, which is Department of University of Mumbai. We initiated our department way back in year 1994, initially with a diploma program. We started in year 2000 our undergraduate program, in 2002 Masters in Management Studies program. In 2010 we initiated PhD program, and in 2019 we initiated MSc Finance program. We are a growing institution and we are very focused on the need of the students. And we organize throughout the year multiple academia and industry collaborative programs. To name some, CEO Conclave, which is our regular annual feature, roundtable conference where industry partners discuss firsthand with the students the requirements of the industry and mold them. Mock interview sessions to prepare students for the industry interviews. Campus to corporate lecture series, which consist of multiple lectures throughout the year. Then we hold functional seminars like HR seminar, finance seminar, etc. We hold international management research conference once in a year. We also have very active student community and committees which are extremely active. One of those I'll say will be ESEL. We have been doing multiple activities, to say in nutshell. Since lockdown has been initiated, we have continued on our path to growth and connection with the academia as well as industry. And for the same, we have organized from the point of lockdown a 3-day faculty development program with MCX. We have organized one interaction of ESEL where we opened it for multiple participants of various institutions, that how do you build up ESEL activities in a very strong manner. Our placement cell has been continuously active. One session has been organized by placement cell to explore that how students can further build up online summer internship initiatives for themselves. And in addition to that, another 6 seminars, webinars our placement cell has organized. So I'll not say much. I'll say that the Kaash Foundation, which we are collaborating today, we are looking forward to many more programs being organized with them. And we will continue on our thirst and our efforts to build up active industry academia partnership in years to come. And with this, I declare today's conference open. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. To all our viewers who are joining us from YouTube, we welcome you to post your comments and questions in the comment box. Our esteemed panelists shall be answering them at the end. Also, the feedback form is provided in the description box below, and responses will be accepted only up till 3 hours after the conference. With this, I would like to welcome our first illustrious speaker for the day, who is Mr. Makarand Patil. Makarand Patil has studied from Aryan High School, Palghar, till 10th standard, then Bhausaheb Vartak Polytechnic Mechanical, Engineering Diploma, VJTI, Matunga, BE Mechanical, MBA Finance, Admins, Mumbai University. He has worked for the core strategy team of Tata Group, Tata Strategic Management Consultants, for over 4 years, and also the British consulting group firm. Headed the Middle East Strategy Consulting, and he is the business founder of Business Intelligence Group with strategy consulting firm in Dubai. In 2008, named Big Strategic Management Consultant. Further, in Mumbai, the company expanded into investment banking, and the new entity, established in 2010, named Big Business Advisors Private Limited. During this tenure of consulting, spanning from 2004 to 2020, he has worked on over 400 odd assignments and business plans and assisted to raise over 3,500 crore for clients all across the globe. He expanded the company in various dimensions and countries. The core business is strategy consulting and boutique investment banking. He holds a BE, MBA, MRICS, and CCF. Sir, it is an honor to have you here with us today.
Yeah. Thank you, Praniti, and thank you, Kaash Foundation and Admis Mumbai University for inviting me to this particular webinar. Especially the topic is quite interesting, wherein the role of alumni into industry academia collaboration is very distinctive, because this particular word itself, alumni, creates a very different uh, vibrations in the entire system. When we talk of education ecosystem, there are three major pillars which creates any institution or a university or a academic platform. That first is the infrastructure. The second, what we talk about is the professors, the doctorates, and the teachers who are going to groom the entire new breed of uh, entrepreneurs or multiple students. And the third major parameter is the researchers and the students. Now, looking at this ecosystem, now the need of the fourth pillar, which was to be developed, and that's nothing but the alumni. Now, alumni acts as the bridge between the education ecosystem and the industry. To give it in a very simplified format, there is a simple format of alumni association or alumni's contribution to the ecosystem, and that is nothing but simple. S stands for the skill and talent development. I stands for the inclusivity of industry, innovation, and academia. M stands for making a mark. Making a mark means alumni becomes the brand ambassador of that particular institute. P stands for the placements and the recruitments, assistance of alumni into placements and recruitments. L stands for learning and development, how the alumni can bring back the knowledge of the industry back to the industry and the institute. And E, which is very crucial in today's world, is entrepreneurship development programs, wherein we'll be talking in detail about all this simple format in the next time slot. First thing, what I would like to focus on is the development, or what we call it as the skill development. Alumni understands what has been happening in the education system, and after going to the industry, what is the need of an hour of today's industry, because the globalization is happening, the technology is advancing. To give a very small example, when I did my engineering, that time I had to study Pascal and COBOL, wherein the industry was looking at C, C++. So that was the gap between what industry is looking for and what the education system is in place. And that's where the alumni's role plays a very important aspect. And that's where the alumni has to come back to the society, come back to the education ecosystem, interact with the students, interact with the juniors, tell them that what exactly is industry is looking at, assist them in their growth planning, their growth development, their career mapping, and then their skill development, their talent development can be focused on. Always means I am alumni of almost 3 to 4 institutions, and I always go back to them as a visiting faculty and make the students understand what exactly the industry is looking at. And that's where the alumni can create a brand value or the increased value of the student and automatically the institute. Then comes the inclusivity. What exactly we are talking on this is the industry and the exact expectation of an industry from a particular education institute, especially the MBA institutes, is people are looking out for some clients to, some students to come out with a strategy, some students to come out with a vigor, some students to come out with the zest to learn new things and new aspects of management. If the institute is focusing on the student development, the students also has to be made more interactive on various aspects of the entire case studies of the entire situation. Now, this is the parameter which the alumni can focus more on. What exactly is happening in the retail industry? What exactly is happening in the finance industry? That kind of a knowledge, if they brings back to the ecosystem of education, and they train the students in various aspects of the entire academics, then there will be upgradation of the talent in the education system, and they will be needed. That particular aspect will be needed in the industry, which will be a proper combination. You are creating a student which will be directly fed into the industry ecosystem, and that's the way it can be collaborated. Then comes the marketing, making a mark. Now, if alumni, if I don't have to name the institutes, but if I have to just say that I am from VJTI, or I am from IIT Mumbai, or I am from IIM, automatically the people look at you from a different perspective. Why and what has happened? Because these institutes, alumni has created that as a brand. Now, looking at the admins, looking at this, we as alumni who has become successful entrepreneurs, who has become successful managers in the industry, we are creating it as a brand. So alumni has a lot of responsibility to bring in the entire, their success is leading to the success of all the future generations which are coming out from that particular institute. So making a mark or marketing, you become a brand ambassador of that institute. Also, this is what we are talked about, is the development of the brand, development of the institute, and development of the students of the entire system, the entire academics or the institutes which are coming, which you have come out from. Next best aspect is recruitments and placements. Now, as we become the successful entrepreneurs, we go into the leading MNCs or the leading companies. We know that we can do, as Dr. Jadhav has mentioned, that you have to give back to the society. You have been built, or you, as I have become Makarand Patil and a successful business entrepreneur because I got training in VJTI, I got training in ADMIS, and that has to have that particular sensation or that particular feeling has to be there throughout, that these institutes have built yourself. And that's the basic thing, that you have to give back to the education institute, and you have to train those students, bring them to your platform, bring them to your company, bring them to your organization, and then start developing on their career, their growth planning. And that's the way the industry and academics through the alumni's perspective should get into place. Definitely you have to market your institute, you have to market your students to various in the institutions, various organizations, because this is what exactly you have to, this is the way you have to go give back to your institute. Then comes the learning and development. That's what I had touched upon. The topic is whatever we learn, because we learn from various, we travel, being into industry, we travel abroad, we go to various markets, various segments, various institutes, and we understand that, okay, a particular aspect in Europe is coming up, and that can be copied to Indian markets probably after 2 to 3 years. What is happening in Middle East? What is happening in Africa? Because we are traveling, we understand that this is particularly the next generation of the next generation wave of the entire ecosystem of the industry, and that exactly has to come. And we have to make our students, our institute students, that ready for that kind of a challenge. And that's where taking the guest lectures, that's exactly what many institutes are doing. Bring in the industry people, bring in the alumni back to the society, ask them what is happening in the society, what is happening in the industry, what is the new trend, what is the latest technology. Share their experiences, share their knowledge with the students, so that the new students starts developing their skills, their skill sets, and then they become the what we call it as the employable. And that's employable definition has to be taken very seriously by these institutes, and to make those students employable is the responsibility of alumni. That's what I assume and I understand. Now coming to the last leg of alumni's role, which recently we could see it from the year 2010 has begun, is most of the alumni which are successful alumni are coming together, bringing the alumni associations, forming the alumni associations. All these alumni come together and they form a company or a trust or a association, and that association becomes an incubation center. There are so many entrepreneurs, so many startup ideas are available in this young mind. what they are looking out for is just basic seed capital or the venture capital, which can take this particular concept or idea to a proof of concept level, and then it can spring off. To give a small example, you have so many startups coming out from IIM and IITs, but why is very few companies or very few startups are coming from non-regulated things? Because their alumni network is not that strong. So we have to start focusing on all these institutions, small institutions or large universities, has to focus on strengthening that alumni bond, so that alumni association can start creating the fund structure and the create a ecosystem which can sustain the startups, and those startups can be then get funded, or that they can get the management expertise, or they can get the strategic expertise for taking it to the next level. And this is what exactly we should be focusing on, the alumni of these small institutes, or not that reputed or not that fame achieved universities and institutes. They should come together and start developing this, so that their institutes, their particular aspect should get limelight, and more startups and more ecosystem growth to be developed. So this is what exactly I think should be the alumni's role in developing the industry academia collaboration. That's it for today.
Praniti, you are not audible. We can't hear you.
Hello, am I audible? Thank you so much, Mr. Makan Patil. Now we move on to the next esteemed panelist, Mr. Amit Goenka. Amit Goenka is the founder, MD, and CEO of Nisus Finance, a premier alternative asset manager with assets under management of INR 600 crore. Amit Goenka was also the founder, MD, and CEO of SL Finance, part of the USD 7 billion Z Group, managing financial services and real estate funds, both domestic and offshore. Mr. Goenka has held senior roles at Knight Frank across various verticals, including as CEO of a domestic rental yield fund. He has also served in senior capacities with Al Ghanim and Adeem Group in the Middle East, besides Ernst & Young and Aditya Birla Group in India. Mr. Goenka is one of India's foremost thought leaders on real estate, known for his views on the developments in affordable housing, taxation, regulatory, statutory, and structural frameworks. He is dedicating his second fund corpus of about INR 500 crores towards mainstream mid-income and affordable housing opportunities. He has chaired conferences in association with NAREDCO, PwC, FICCI, IMC, and APREA on subjects like banking, private equity, REITs, union budget, and RERA. Mr. Goenka brings 20 years of top-tier multinational experience in banking, direct investments, and strategy, and has been responsible for over USD 7 billion of transactions worldwide. Sir, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Praniti, and a very good afternoon. Distinguished academicians, professors, my esteemed colleagues in the industry, Dr. Kavita Mishra, Dr. Kaash Jadhav, friends, and all the listeners to today's webinar, a very warm welcome. It is indeed my privilege and a very humbling experience for me to be invited amongst such great leaders, august thinkers, and the change agents of our economy and country. I will try my best to talk about something which I think is most relevant in today's time, which is innovation and creation of an efficient frontier in academia for industry application. It is famously said that nothing changes if nothing changes. Strange as it may be, maybe it is the law of inertia. Nothing changes if nothing changes. But a lot has changed in the last few months, and we all are witness to this historic event that we're all going through together. Our best laid plans, our products, processes, services, financial structures, and the overall sense of security, I think, has been truly disrupted in these unprecedented times. I hence believe it is time for academia to take up this mantle in defining a new normal, a new efficient frontier, which will be led by innovation, which can be then applied through the portals of our industries, businesses, and economies. But what does it mean, an efficient frontier led by innovation, you may want to ask, and this is exactly what I'm trying to attempt to answer this afternoon. It was during such times, during the Great Depression of 1973, that three great academicians, Robert Merton, Fisher Black, and Myron Scholes, introduced an extraordinary formula, which is today known as the Black-Scholes model. It allowed the financial world to price European options. It opened up a whole new and wide category of creating superior returns through pricing of risk, and ended up creating a new efficient frontier for businesses and traders within commodities and capital markets. New wealth was hence created. Similarly, it is one such academician to which I dedicate this afternoon's address, Dr. Harry Markowitz, who introduced the concept of the efficient frontier way back in the 1950s. It's a powerful concept that is aimed at creating the highest returns for a given level of risk or effort. In the business world, it also means creating an alpha through innovation in products, in strategies that allow players to keep themselves in the lead while keeping the risks or costs under acceptable levels. Leaders like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and closer home like Reliance, Infosys, HDFC, and many more have created a new efficient frontier by creating a portfolio of products and services that generate a significant alpha compared to their peers without assuming greater risk or costs. All of these leaders have squarely depended upon their business innovators and academic leaders for disruptive and innovative ideas and solutions. The current pandemic has again brought forth the need for a paradigm shift solely through innovative interaction between the academia and the industry. Many industries will get disrupted. They will need to develop a new efficient frontier, which will have to be led by innovation, which has to be based on a collaborative ecosystem, higher human efficiency, technological interface, wellness and safety norms across the supply chain, and an equitable or optimal resource distribution. The world in large will be faced with economic pressure, depleting resources, environmental challenges, and an exponential increase in science and knowledge development. And all of this calls for a deep assessment of academic intervention in sustainable industrial innovation. Fundamental research as a bedrock for academia is no longer viable. Instead, academic innovation must focus on the confluence or integration of fundamental and applied research, new technology development, new business models and processes, enhanced social responsibility. All of this must now come through the renovated academia. Innovative blueprint requires such paradigm shifts in mindsets, strategies, research focus, the whole crux of academia-industry relationships, IP policies, and government involvements. Special emphasis, in my view, within academia should be placed on institutionalizing innovation and specifically their role within the small and medium enterprises. It involves the development of methods for promoting and transforming SMEs into effective catalysts of change through innovative models of academic partnerships. Largely, academia has focused on the big block issues, on large corporates, on PSUs, but it is truly the grassroots level, the SMEs, the startups, which will be the new drivers of change. It is important, therefore, that such innovative academic partnerships be developed. Very well put by Dr. Sam Sagwe at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in his article on innovative academic intervention in his paper at the 11th National Congress on Engineering and Food, from which I have drawn some of this inspiration. MSMEs, like agriculture in our country, are our lifeblood. This is also apparent in the rupees 20 lakh crore economic package that the Pradhan Mantri rolled out under the Atmanirbhar program not a few weeks ago. It is squarely aimed at revitalizing the grassroots enterprises through innovation and definitely through academic intervention. Hence, academia, in my view, is best suited to provide integral answers in a disruptive environment to reboot their strategies and processes. Disruptive innovation must also apply to the aspects of teaching and research within academia. A lot of legacy systems, processes, methods have been used for far too long. It is time to rethink. It is the time to focus on generating industry-ready models that seamlessly interact across disciplines, generate efficiencies in resourcing, and even look at cannibalizing some of the legacy assets or products to extract value and build upon them for solutions for the future. This will certainly accelerate post-COVID-19, where there will be concerns about resources as well as efficacy of throughput. Each disruptive idea we have seen, whether it's in prop tech, build tech, fintech, health tech, or any such technologically interfaced multi-dimensional platform, is well over $1 billion. In the US alone, over $100 billion are employed each year into academic research through universities. Most advanced nations have a much higher number. India, of course, unfortunately, is at a dismal low. I see that changing rapidly in the current environment, helped by the China factor. Global investors and corporations are looking to set up shop and increase their footprint in our country. This will mean huge funds in creating new academic institutions, research and innovative systems, contemporary curriculum, and future-ready graduates to join the ranks. Attracting venture capital to drive innovation, incubators, and startups is vital and non-negotiable for all academic institutions today. Without compromising on the highest standards of academy, adaptation to the new normal and taking up these challenges is now a necessity. Time is precious, it is now, and it is all our collective utmost responsibility to provide leadership, instill confidence, encourage and embark upon this journey to galvanize efforts, institutionalize innovation, and create a new efficient frontier for maximum returns for all stakeholders post-COVID-19. For those of us today on this webinar in the field of academia, I leave you with the thoughts of Dr. Roland Moore, an assistant professor at the Seattle Pacific University, who in his paper, A Definition of Academic Innovation, said, academic innovation is the development of new manners of knowledge creation and collaborating for an environment. Generating new manners is nothing but disrupting old manners, giving up the old habits, the old products, the processes, the curriculum and methodologies, and generating new. which is relevant, innovative, and applicable. I have spent over 20 years in the field of finance and real estate, and hence I allude to finance a lot. We have witnessed so many disruptive events in these 20 years. Each seemed more damning and uncircumventable than the other. However, this one may actually well define our future for good. The way we work, the way we study, the way we operate, and the way we conduct our businesses, and including the way governments go about their administrative responsibilities. Talking of real estate, in these sagging times, times of low confidence and low esteem, real estate companies have today turned to innovation to generate that alpha for their stakeholders. They're using models of extensive stakeholder collaboration, structured financing techniques, digital sales during lockdown, some very, very encouraging endeavors, technology-led construction, methodologies to integrate the land to stock conversion approach with an increase in throughput efficiency at the least utilization of resources and costs. Those who will do this well will set themselves up for a long leadership and create a new efficient frontier for themselves. Those who will not will fail by the wayside. The same has to be said for academia. Skill development is hence the growing need, which is accentuated by the Skill India movement. We are all aware of that. I have been a certified member of a UK institution called the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. It is only in India that RICS realized they need to extend their global and academic research and know-how to usable skill development. The AMIT RICS university campuses in Noida and Mumbai have been churning out hundreds of graduates and thousands of skilled diploma workers who are future ready to join the real estate and construction sector. It is in my engagement with several academic institutions nationwide and internationally that I realized there has been a persistent hesitance to break the mold. The environmental mandate to create a new ecosystem is now upon us and cannot be ignored or missed. We have been squarely pushed out of our comfort zones. We have no choice but to innovate ceaselessly, challenge legacy assumptions, reconsider the validity of our historical models and processes, our curriculum, our subjects, the theories within them, and processes ideas through the industry that will lead to sustained value creation. We have to create problem solvers and value creators, not just cogs in the wheel. There will obviously not be a push system anymore. There will have to be a pull system. I welcome you all to this new COVID environment to create an innovative, efficient frontier through academic intervention in our businesses. Are you ready is the question. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the industry, I only say the following. Creating efficient frontiers and value creation, generating new alphas is imperative for all of us in our country. India is at the cusp of growth, and we could very well capitalize on the new opportunity with the vast and plethora of Indian talent, academic know-how, and thought processes. It is upon us to use these resources, these skills, to transform ourselves into a new pole position for ourselves, for our countrymen, as well as for the world. I'm sure it will hence not be very long, it will not be very much in the future that I will hear Dr. Shukla actually proudly stating that we have more work than we can actually handle. I don't think you will need to depend upon the industry to come to you. The industry will need to come to you. They are coming to you. They will be led and are being led by global investors, innovators, financiers, venture capitalists, a lot of them who are part of my own fund and are seeking innovative answers, are seeking solutions to create value by moving away from legacy issues, legacy investments, legacy ideas, and creating a new disruptive, efficient frontier. Thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. It's indeed a pleasure again to be part of all of you this morning.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and reflective speech. For all our viewers who have just joined us, we are underway the 7th International Conference organized by Kaash Foundation CAPD and in collaboration with ADMIS University of Mumbai on strategy to strengthen industry-academia collaboration in emerging economy. As you can also post your questions in the chat or the comment box, and our panelists shall be more than happy to be answering your questions. As Anand Mahindra rightly quoted, sustainability has to be a way of life to be a way of business. On that note, I would like to welcome our next speaker for the day, Professor Paresh Sheth. Professor Sheth runs an investment bank, Indus One Advantage, and specializes in cross-border joint ventures and alliances. Indus has a presence across 5 countries. Professor Sheth serves as a director on the board of CASI, the global certification body for CSR and sustainability, New York, USA. CASI New York has operations across 52 countries. Professor Sheth is the founder of CSR Diary, one of the world's largest volunteering platform with the reach of over 3 million student volunteers. Prior to Indus, he was the India CEO and full-time director for a Swiss bank, Indian subsidiary, concurrently the deputy CEO for another Swiss bank subsidiary into brokerage and wealth management, and an advisor to multiple companies, including listed engineering companies. An entrepreneur at heart, he set up and sold his first company at the age of 21, post which he embraced the salaried format. Professor Sheth came back to the entrepreneurial format again at the age of 37. In between, he worked for 17 years at various BFSI corporates, including IDBI Bank, HDFC Sec, First Rand Bank, Hinduja Bank Switzerland, and ICICI Bank in various capacities, including CEO, board member, and business head. He was the chairman for finance and membership at CIIYI Mumbai. He is one of the few professionals to have managed a team of 12,500 executives and 5 million customers. He was frequently involved in strategic initiatives to align the retail and wealth banking activities with the changing times and the introduction of innovative products and services to a new customer base and different markets. He was also a part of business process re-engineering at IDBI Bank and represented the retail banking unit in the BPR forum. He championed the customer value management and analytics unit at IDBI Bank. Sir, thank you for gracing this event with your presence.
Thank you very much for the kind words. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. So at the outset, allow me to congratulate the team at Kaash NGO Foundation and Alkesh Dinesh Modi on selecting this topic. This is a topic which needs revisiting, especially for 2 reasons. One, because we tend to take academia industry interaction for granted. And second, but more importantly, now too many forces, economic, technological and otherwise, have created circumstances which make it imperative for us to revisit this topic. So when we say industry academia interaction, what do we really mean? What really happens? Hota kya hai to with the stakeholders? So typically in a college or an institute or a university, the students will form a committee. The student council approaches HR managers, alumni, LinkedIn contacts, and then division wise, BA, BCom, BSc, finance, marketing, HR, seminars are organized and everybody is happy. The best case scenario, an institute with a little more developed ecosystem among the alumni manages to have 52 seminars in 52 weeks. So everybody is very happy that we organized one seminar a week. Right? But that brings us to problem number 1. Where is the interaction? Romance kidhar hai? At best, these are monologues. When somebody from the industry is speaking and everybody is listening. See, understand that it is not an interaction. When we say industry, academia, interaction, then this does not qualify as an interaction unless 1, it is a win-win situation, 2, it has long-term consequences, and 3, it has strategic implications for both the parties concerned. So that is our problem number 1. No interaction really. Now let me go to problem number 2. On the internet, we find a lot of speakers, mentors, gurus, and many of the speakers are just that, speakers. There is no content, no experience, and at best, the quality of such experience is a suspect. So picking up the right talent from the industry, which will really benefit the students and the academia on the whole, is difficult. And getting speakers who have been there and done that is really, really difficult. So that is problem number 2, the quality. Finally, let's look at problem number 3. The third problem, which I think we should identify in the entire scenario, is a case of the missing ROI. The function of industry-academia interaction needs to have an ROI. The entire exercise needs to have an accountability. So accountability for all 3 stakeholders, the industry, the students, and the institute itself. Finally, at the end of the day, we need to understand how did the interaction help and how much. That is the key. Today, most institutes hold placements as the final return on investments. That we did so many seminars and we got very good placements or average placements, or this is the kind of placements that we have, and that is the ROI determined of the industry interaction. Now this is not fair, and it is a very unstable way to determine the results or the benefits of these industry interactions. So basically we discussed 3 issues. 1, the interaction is very superficial and not really an immersion. 2, quality is a suspect. And 3, the accountability and the business case for a ROI, the return on investment of such seminars, is missing. So let's look at how we can improve the entire experience called as industry academia interaction. So if this is the process, it's an experience for all the stakeholders. How do we improvise on the entire experience and look at the issues and then solve the issues? But before that, as I said in my topic, that now is the time. So let's look at why now. What makes it imperative for us to drive this change today? Why is it very important, more than ever? Because of the coronavirus? Not really. See, universities and institutes have been collaborating with corporates for over 100 years now. But the rise of global knowledge economies and the rise of mushrooming of thousands of institutes across the world has intensified the need for strategic partnerships that go beyond the conventional industry academia interaction. See, one thing we will all agree is the quality of higher education is a major force behind the country's social, economic, and cultural preeminence. By preeminence, I mean the capacity to surpass others. So if India has to surpass other countries, or India has to better itself in social, economy, or cultural preeminences, then the quality of higher education is a major force. So and today, we all understand that dramatic forces in the environment are forcing all the institutions and universities to rethink traditional ways of doing things. So they are trying to rethink so that they can sustain their contributions to the economy in the years ahead. and there are forces buffeting the economy. Now, what are the forces buffeting the economy and the education sector? And these forces are greater than at any other time in my living memory. So what are these forces which are putting pressure on the economy and the education sector? The fiscal deficits, the rising fees, affordability, rising debts, skepticism about credentials, increasing pressure for accountability from all stakeholders, disruptive technologies that transform learning reach, even as we are trying to spend higher on instructional models. 135 crore population with disappearing jobs. Now, all these factors which are putting pressure on the economy and the education sector, coupled with coronavirus destruction as a catalyst, the climate today is ripe for bolder agendas than in normal times. So in normal times, these bolder agendas which I am suggesting might be off limits and arguably unneeded. But because Corona acted as a catalyst and because of the 7-8 other factors in the economy, today is the right time to look at bolder agendas. See, institutes, I am also a part of an institute. Along with my investment banking practice, I run one of the world's largest online academy, Cassie Divyok. We are present in 52 countries. So I am in the same boat. We are working on the same thing. And because I am an investment banker, I am also the industry. So यहाँ पे I am trying to recruit. यहाँ पे I am trying to give placements. So I am facing pressure on both the angles. So as an institute, we need to act now to build immunity against future shocks. We need to reimagine the partnership, the strategic partnership which we have with the industry. We need to reimagine the whole thing. And that is why we need to act now. Now, this is the reason why I congratulated the team at the beginning of my speech that Kaash NGO, Kaash Foundation, and Alkesh Dinesh Modi, Mumbai University, the entire team has selected the right topic at the right time, because the time to act is now. Now, let me propose a small solution on the way forward in the industry-academia interaction. How have some institutes and universities managed to successfully overcome inherent differences? See, people will always say that institutes, universities are theoretical and corporates are practical. So there is a distance, there is a difference. So in theory versus practice, how have some universities managed to overcome inherent differences? How have a few universities and institutes managed to forge a higher level of strategic partnership? So we need a very simple yet intense partnership model. The most productive collaborations are strategic and long term. So we need to establish ties with the industry based on professional ties, trust, and shared benefits that work to bridge this cultural divide between the institutes and the corporates. So I propose a very simple two-step approach. 1, immersion and not interaction. 2, rerouted culture. This is just a two-step approach, a very strategic approach to bridge the gap and make it stronger between the industry, and this is what needs to be done. Now let me explain these 2 steps. Step number 1 is immersion and not interaction. What I mean by this is accountability, return on investment. When I say immersion and not interaction, it also means, or there is a deep meaning which says that industry academia interaction is not for students alone. I think it is a major means, a chance to apply theory to practical situations. This means industry academia interaction is for academicians as well. So consulting opportunities, training, market mapping, market research, making modules for training, and even high-end research and development for technical institutes should be a part of the overall exercise called as industria academic interaction. On the other side, we need to encourage industry professionals to submit white papers so that they become a deeper part of this entire exercise. The third thing, we need to encourage joint development programs. Usually what we do is, as an institute or as a university, we say we will teach the corporate. Or it doesn't work like that anymore. That is interaction. We need immersion. So we need to take talent from the corporates, talent from the universities and institutes, and together bundle a product, which then becomes a real product at immersion between the corporates and the universities. So that is the third thing. Now to step number 2. So the first step was immersion and not integration. The second step, the final step, is rerouted culture. Now, what does rerouted culture mean? It is obvious. We need to work on our cultural differences. What does it really mean? It means focusing on collaboration for a long-term basis and not only seminars. It also means higher level of execution. Now, this is the crux. All in all, universities and institutes have to assume the role of a strategic business unit for corporates. They have to assume the role of a service provider. See, the entire mindset has to change. The very existence of these large institutes and universities are to provide a service to corporates. And when the corporates recruit them, then they are providing a service to the stakeholders and the shareholders. So we need to inculcate a sense of being a strategic business unit within the institute and the university. So the portion, the skill set, everything needs to be from the industry. Industry needs to be invited for sampling lectures. Now, I am not saying that industry should be invited when you have placements. I'm saying real sampling lectures. We need to have campus visits. We need to have end-to-end processes at institutes, and everything needs to be in line with the industry requirements. Now, this is real immersion, right? And that requires a cultural rerouting. Now, because I have given only 2 simple steps, so immersion and the rerouting of culture, now it will seem that this is not something very new. We are doing that, right? So my above 2 points will not strike educators or corporates as wholly new. But I promise you, taken together, these 2 steps, the solution, it represents a set of simultaneous challenges that are extremely difficult even for high-performing corporates and institutes to manage very well. So we need to take them together, both these things, the solution, and work on the multiple things that emerge from these solutions. So let me end my speech by stating that it's a big leap. It requires each side to engage far beyond the conventional exchange. The benefits have been long obvious, with substantial funding for academic research and placements. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was truly a very edifying and comprehensive speech. To all the viewers who have joined us, welcome to the 7th International Conference hosted by Kaash Foundation, CAPD, in collaboration with ADMIS University of Mumbai on strategy to strengthen industry academic collaboration on emerging economy. I would now like to introduce our 4th speaker for the day, Mr. Nachiket Nayak. Mr. Nayak has over 23 years of experience in the credit and debt markets and is associated as the head corporate lending with Arca FinCap Limited. In his previous stint, Mr. Nayak, as a part of the founding team at IREP Credit Capital Limited, ran the lending operations of the NBFC for 6 years. Prior to this, Mr. Nayak set up and led the debt capital markets and financing franchisee for UBS in India and was responsible for origination, structuring, execution, and distribution of all onshore and offshore transactions. Prior to the UBS, Mr. Nayak was with ABM AMRO, RBS, for 6 years and led several landmark transactions. Prior to joining ABN AMRO, Mr. Nayak was with Infrastructure Leasing and Finance, one of India's biggest NBFCs. He has also worked with Credit Analysis and Research, that is CARE, one of India's largest domestic credit rating agencies, where he handled financial sector and structured finance ratings. Mr. Nayak is an engineer and MBA by qualification. Sir, a very warm welcome to you.
Thanks, man. Thank you everyone for having me over. It's a great age of students and community at large through a format of this nature, and I think it's also a privilege to be part of a format or a session with such very great speakers and organizers. The topic I wanted to actually spend some time on, which my peers have touched upon in various ways, is around how this whole collaboration and partnership of industry and academia is kind of, I called it need of the hour, but probably I would stretch it to say that it's kind of imminent or inevitable.
Nachiketji, I think your audio. Kindly check your audio. We are just. Kindly check your audio. You're not audible enough.
Sure. Is it better now?
Yeah, please continue. Please continue, Nachiketji.
Sorry. So from that point of view, what I wanted to communicate was that not only is it the need of the hour, but pretty much a necessity, or it's inevitable and imminent in that sense of the term, and more so from an academia point of view. Actually, let me stress more and spend some time on the academic or the academia point of view, given that a lot of this is getting heard and absorbed by people who are kind of part of the academia. Let's look at it, let's say, from a B school perspective, given that this forum is organized by a B school. What is it that academia or a B school expects from industry currently as we speak? It's largely either projects for the internship or a placement post completion of the course. Conversely, what is it that industry is currently expecting from a B school? Essentially hiring people by way of fresh graduates, and the way industry looks at it is essentially from a point of view of this being, to that extent, is industry looking at B schools or academia in general by way of a finished product, a ready-to-use product, a value-added product? Probably not at this point of time. And that's where I think the disconnect is by way of expectation.
Nachiket sir, we can't hear you also. We can't hear you also. Can you
Let me
just help us to... Rohan, can you just help him to get the audio? It's loud. Yeah. Thank you.
Is it better now? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Is that okay? Is that okay?
थोड़ा better है ना?
Yeah. Okay. Is it good now? Let me do one thing. Let me actually stop the video and go with the voice. I think the bandwidth is causing some issues. Yeah. No, I think it's more a bandwidth problem. So probably I'll just go with the right now because that's not easy. Yeah, can you hear me now? Is that am I audible now? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So can I continue? Okay, thank you. Sorry for that glitch. Technology has been a great enabler in these times, but I think excessive usage of technology probably at times does cause these problems. So apologies for that. But hope I'm audible and clear right now. I'm not too much of a looker, so don't kind of be bothered about not seeing the video part of it. But coming back to what I was saying, somewhere I think academia needs to now step up by way of its relevance. Like I mentioned, if industry has largely looked upon fresh coming graduates joining them as raw material and not really value added products in that sense of the term, then that's where academia needs to step up. Otherwise, industry in that sense has been finding its own alternatives by way of reliance on academia for whatever they require academy for. So let's take a few examples, right? We've all heard the names of Raghuram Rajan, of Ashwath Damodaran, of Arvind Subramaniam. Where are they all today? They're all back in the US, in the UNIVs that they were teaching and doing the research work. After spending stints as central bank governor, as chief economic advisor, as very eminent people in industry in that sense of the term. And I think that's where you barely struggle to find equivalent names from an Indian perspective. And I'm using finance as or as an example, given that I come from that field. And I think how many names come top of mind by way of people coming out of such similar universities and institutions in India to either work in industry or government. It's just about starting, and names like Dr. Ram Mohan, who was from IIM Ahmedabad, who's on the board of SEBI, or Sanjeev Sanyal, who was working with Deutsche Bank as an economist and is now working with government, are few and far between. But I think that's where the bridge needs to kind of be put into place for it to become a regular passage between industry and academia. Somewhere in these times, all the more so, you begin to realize the value of research, of academic inputs, of furthering the intelligentsia around industry, and somewhere needing to create that bridge between hardcore research or academic prowess becoming more applicable or applied in nature from an industry perspective. So let's take, for example, someone like Ashwath Damodaran, who is the gurus of valuation. Everyone kind of looks up to him for inputs, not just from an end result perspective by way of what is his advice on a stock like Netflix, but just by way of the approaches that comes up with by way of what are the newer ways and means in which you need to value companies, which are page companies which defy traditional logistics, logics, etc. And he's based all of that out of hardcore research that he does from a university. That's the kind of partnership or collaboration that one needs, where industry
Nachiket ji,
further
can you please be loud, because we have a sign interpreter and audience is also not able to hear you. Can you kindly be a bit loud?
Okay, I'll do that.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, sir.
So a lot of what needs to come out of academia in general, out of educational institutes in general now, has to kind of follow examples of what probably one institute in Mumbai is doing. And I wouldn't want to take names, but they've clearly now set up a center where they are attracting professionals from industry, not just on a part-time basis where people come and do sessions for them or do research projects for them, but they are now able to attract top talent from industry who are giving up cushy jobs after a long time in industry and banking, and are now full-time faculty in these institutes and are doing a fair amount of research work are doing a fair amount of advisory assignments, are doing a lot of work by way of becoming independent directors on boards. That is where industry looks upon academia today. They need people with high caliber. They need people with a base in 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 intelligence and research work to come and advise and guide. Today, you're seeing a plethora of new age startups coming up where mentorship has become such a big issue. That essentially comes with a mix of gray hair, both from a practical perspective by way of having spent enough time in industry, and from a perspective of having seen where things are headed, what works, what doesn't work. To be a guide or mentor to someone, you have to have that genuine mix of research based inputs, academic inputs, as well as on the ground experience. And that's the format where institutes or academia in general needs to now step up by way of creating pools of talents, creating formats by way of centers of excellence where they can attract talent from industry who, using their experience and blending it with the research work that academia offers, comes out with a set of individuals or set of formats where they can then get looked upon by industry as inputs on a value added basis, where an industry can call upon an institute and say, we need expertise in this particular area, we need guidance in this particular area, can you come to work for us by way of helping us set up this part of our practice, by way of giving us people who can mentor parts of our business, by giving us people on the board who can become guides for us going forward. In the past, I remember in the 90s, we used to have a whole host of again such eminent people from, again, unfortunately, US universities who were on the boards of a lot of Indian companies and who would actually provide that kind of input. Somewhere that gap has kind of fallen through cracks, where a lot of this reliance on a Western world has now to be retrofitted from an Indian perspective. Somewhere we have seen in the recent past that somewhere India tends to have this unique uh, sort of approach where just adapting Western world philosophies may not always bring to bear what's needed from an Indian point of view, which is where then that level of intelligentsia coming out of Indian academia begins to find that much more relevance. And somewhere in the last 2 decades, industry, for lack of that kind of inputs, has looked upon whether it is advisory firms, whether it is consulting firms, for that kind of input, which is again largely ingrained in research work and academia. So somewhere that is a huge opportunity for academia today to step up and step into by way of creating these formats, centers of excellence, resource pools of experienced professionals, using the academic core of a institution to kind of further the cause of academia and blend it with what industry lacks today and looks forward to. Unless there is a strong enough base of research work that goes into various industries today, whether it's pharma, whether it's IT, whether it's BFSI, the rate of change and advancement is so significant that just being a executioner as industry is clearly not going to be substantial. The core of research work and the core of strategy work to kind of guide industries to execute is very, very critical. A lot of time industries do it themselves. A lot of times they are relying on external people to help them out on. Ideally, academia needs to step into that void. Somewhere academia has been kind of short on that front from an Indian perspective, and hence it's either been people from overseas who have come in to fill that gap, or people from more uh, regular format organizations and not really academia in general in that sense. So where I wanted to again stress upon and reiterate the point is that the time is not just ripe for a partnership or collaboration, but it's eminent. And from an academia perspective, to remain relevant in these times, I don't think it's adequate to just produce B school graduates who then get absorbed into industry at a starting stage, because industries today is saying that we look upon B school graduates as raw material, like I said, and not really as finished goods. We will train them, we will make them learn, and a lot of the the actual learning for them will happen in the job. That's where you need to now produce a lot more of finished goods and value added products within academia itself, so that the gap that has been created gets filled up. Regular interactions between industry and academia is a given. I don't think one needs to belabor on that point anymore, by way of not just restricting it to things like one or two guest lectures where you call upon people from industry, but a regular bridge, whether it is by way of running internships, projects, having academy, industry participants as part of faculty, not just faculty, but creation of coursework, of what kind of projects need to be done. That's the kind of collaboration or partnership that needs to evolve. Today, an industry participant or someone from industry pretty much needs to sit on the academic or advisory board of academia to guide them as to what is it that industry expects and how can reorient a lot of your syllabus or coursework to meet requirements of industry. At the same time, that's the kind of cross in pollination that academia needs to provide industry, by way of what are the various advancements that are happening currently, what is it that industry needs to do from a strategy perspective, from a core of what they are aiming to do point of view, to kind of remain relevant, because in these times you either survive or you succeed. I don't think there is a middle path of status quo where you don't move to the next level and yet continue to remain relevant. So in these times, again, to end what I wanted to communicate, it's inevitable that this evolves, and I would say it's the role of academia today to make that bridge, or to create crossover for keeping itself relevant in these times, and to make use of these opportunities to establish a pillar of advancement for itself, and aspire and culminate its intentions of becoming not just a degree producing institution, but a institution producing value added resource, and an institution creating a top of quality research work and strategy work, which then helps industry kind of succeed in itself. Yeah, that was broadly what I wanted to communicate by way of where things are placed, where the gap continues to exist, and where that bridge needs to get crossed. And yeah, I think that's broadly what I wanted to say. And to you, moderator, by way of how you want to take this forward.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening speech. We have now drawn to a close from all our four speakers. Unfortunately, due to a shortage of time, we may not be able to have a lengthy question-answer session, but due to the technical difficulties. However, I would request Dr. Kavita Pandey to kindly conduct a brief question-answer session with our esteemed panelists. And before I hand over the floor to Dr. Kavita Pandey, I would like to thank from the bottom of our hearts to all our esteemed panelists for an extremely comprehensive and illuminating session. We have truly benefited a lot from all your wonderful words. Over to you, Dr. Kavita.
Okay, thank you, Praniti, once again. Such an insightful session which we all had. I think it was altogether a very different perspective in terms of industry academia collaboration, which we keep talking since. So as Praniti has already mentioned that we have a very shortage of time, but I'm seeing lots of questions which are coming from viewers. So at least I would like to take one questions from each panel members. So my first questions to Makrant Patil, because he spoke on a very important topic related with alumni collaboration for strengthening industry academia development altogether. So Makrant, as you are an entrepreneur, you are an alumni, you are an industry professionals. So you are playing multiple roles. So I wanted to ask you the questions that can you please suggest the stepwise process for strengthening industry academia collaborations? This is the one. And second, from entrepreneurial perspective, as you know, how to sustain ethics in entrepreneurial activities. We are seeing lots of businesses are coming and Now and then we are also reading in the newspapers that business ethics and concern have become a very important issues. So can you just tell us related with these two important points?
Okay. Definitely, definitely, Kavita. See, first question what you had asked was the process or steps to how we can increase the interactions between industry and academics via alumni connect. Now, what I would suggest here is first thing, or first and foremost, most of the institutes should gather the data of their alumni. Most of the institutes have forgotten that this is a very important link which they should be focused on, and that's where the key thing is, that you gather all the data of your alumni, trace them out, like what now Corona people are doing. They are doing contact tracing, so you will have to start working on the same module. You have to start tracing our alumni, gather them together, and then establish the association, take their ideas, take their views, bring them to the same or common platform, which always ADMIS is always doing a annual alumni meet. So that meet has to be focused more on the networking and the more fruitful and more interactive sessions like that. That's exactly what Paresh sir has mentioned, that it shouldn't be like meet and go. It should be meet and retain, and then it should be a long-term network or long-term relationship. Once that happens, then automatically the students and joint programs for the development, like what we are already doing in some cases, that we are doing, taking research projects, doing market studies for the industry. So that kind of association has to go further, and that's the key thing to take our industry interactions to the next level. Now coming to your second question, can you again repeat that second question?
Yeah, so this was related with your entrepreneurial activities. How to sustain ethics in entrepreneurial
Exactly.
ventures?
Now the only thing is, Miss, I have worked in Tata Group, I would always suggest that bring someone from Tata Group as the speaker in the institute, and you will understand the kind of ethics and the importance of ethics in this. That's one thing. Second thing is, see, ethics is a very essential thing in this. Like last week itself, there was a article in the newspaper about the some laboratory testing false positive and then creating increasing the numbers or in the private hospitals and billing, and then they have some association and arrangements. See, this kind of business ethics, this is not ethical behavior, and that's what we had discussed in our core group as well. So see, business ethics has to be imbibed in every student, especially in terms of the management student at least. We should start with that. And then this business ethic, the lectures, the understanding of what exactly is the correct management practice, it has to be taught in the system, and you have to bring in the correct people from the industry to give them proper case studies, proper examples, and then only see it will always follow with the practice. Nobody can come and teach you how to do business, how to be ethical. It has to be in your DNA, and that DNA has to be created. So you have students which are there with you. For BMS, you have students for 3 years. For MBA, you have students for 2 years. So from day one, the business ethics or the ethical coaching or ethical training has to start from day one. And this 2 years or 3 years program, this business ethics should get imbibed into the blood of our institute's students, and then they will take it to the next level.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you. Ma'am, our special guest has already arrived, so if we could have a really brief session so that we can introduce him and welcome him.
So you want me to stop taking the question and answer now?
If you could just wrap it up really quickly, it would be great, because our special guest has to then be someplace else as well.
Okay, okay.
I think, can I intervene? Please take the questions. I'm here.
Acha, okay. Thank you, sir. Can I just take only
Yeah,
one
yeah.
questions,
Yeah,
not more
please.
than
I'm here.
that. So
I'm
maybe
done.
in another 10 minutes we will finish it off. So
Yeah, please.
just okay. Yeah, sure. Amit sir, for you, the question is, as you have mentioned very profoundly about the theoretical models of management studies related with current developments, academia industry collaborations. But the question which has come through our viewers for you, that urban institutions may have efficient frontiers, but rural institutions still struggle for basic resources. So, what is your suggestion for them to strengthen this concept related with efficient frontiers models, which you explained to all of us? I think I can't see him on the group. Whether Amit sir is here? Okay.
No, ma'am, he's not here.
Okay. Okay, so I will speak. I will ask now Paresh sir. Paresh sir, you have a very rich years of an experience in industry, academia, and also for setting up the businesses and as a guest speakers also of multiple colleges and institutions. I also have gone through your LinkedIn profile where I understood that you are also the founder of CSR Diary. So can you please highlight more about that? How campus to corporate and campus to communicate communities can be brought, can be brought together.
Kavita madam, hi.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me? Am I audible? Perfect. So I'm sorry, Paresh sir is not available to take any questions. He had to leave at 1.
Acha. Okay.
Apologies.
So can you take the questions on his behalf?
No, I would not be able to take questions on his behalf. But if you want, I can pass on the question and get back to you for your viewers. With the response.
Okay, okay, sir. No problem. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I think Nachiket sir, you mentioned very correctly that industry academia collaboration is the need of the hour. So whether I am belonging from a professional institute or I am from an academic institution, it is crucial for us to build it up. What question for you I have that basically if you see current this today the youth is psychologically disturbed, as Smita ma'am mentioned very correctly, that this has also impacted on their placements and simultaneously dealing with the industry challenges. So what is your suggestion to balance the psychological impact of current scenario among these students, so that we should have a very balanced approach of industry and academia collaboration?
Yeah, Kavita, sorry, I just lost you in the middle. If you can just come again.
You want me to repeat again, sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, I can't hear you.
Yeah. If you can repeat the question once again, please.
Yeah. So, sir, as I was telling that you mentioned very correctly about industry academia collaboration is the need of the hour. And there are multiple models which are coming up and everyone is trying to strengthen it. So my question is that this current scenario is also impacting the campus placements for these management students. So because of which the youth has lots of psychologically impact. So what suggestion would you like to give the management institutions per se to balance the psychological impact of current scenario among students?
Very interesting question. I think we've been hearing a lot about this by way of institutions actually, reaching out to industry. Like you rightly said, that this year is likely to be a tough year given the, a lot of companies are not hiring, and to that extent, how can we engage students? I myself have been doing a fair amount of webinars for institutes, and I think a lot of institutes are keeping things relevant and current in these times of a lockdown, where they're organizing these sessions either by way of professors taking classes for the students, or then getting industry experts to give them industry level inputs the way you would normally do by way of guest lectures. I think this is a great time for students and for institutes to kind of make use of these times to get students move from the core of academics or syllabus into into a world where they can dialogue with industry professionals and keep themselves current with how are, let's say, industries coping with these challenging times. From a strategy point of view, how are they redefining their strategies? From a research work point of view, from a databasing point of view, I think it's a great time to do projects and internships. And I think a lot of industries themselves, for example, we have enrolled 3 or 4 interns currently and given them projects because we ourselves see that the need now to do a lot of research work, a lot of credit analysis on our lending portfolio needs a lot more hands on deck. I think this is a great time either for the institutes to reach out to industry. I think industry is anyway doing that by way of reaching out to institutes, but to keep students mentally active and mentally connected. And the best way to do that and ensure that they are not too focused on pandemic and other issues, taking all necessary precautions, is to get absorbed with work. And from that point of view, the more you all do projects, internships, research work at these point of times, given the kind of rate of change that we are seeing all around us, will not only give you the ability to take your mind off all the bad news that's coming through, but give you a very good experience of seeing transitory times and how everyone is reacting to these times and making a success out of this transition. So always see opportunity in difficulty, always take the good out of a challenging situation, and see how you can benefit out of them. I have always believed that times of challenge are times of opportunity. So look upon this as something which others before you may not have had the chance of experiencing. You are going through this by way of just seeing this opportunity, like people saw in 2008 after the global financial crisis, of seeing such a significant transition. You're being part of it. Make the most out of it. The good part is that you are on the outside and can view it as a phase where you can actually from the outside look upon how it has moved and how it has affected industries and how they have coped with it. So yeah, it's up to you. How do you take these times and make your institutes as a platform to reach out to industry, or take the initiative yourself and do projects, internships, etc., to keep yourself not only occupied mentally, but also enable yourself to be abreast of all the change that's happening all around us. So yeah, make this as an opportunity, and take the initiative and take the effort to kind of be on top of things, which will then give you a fair amount of mental satisfaction. Not only will it take you out of a bad mindset, but give you that sense of satisfaction of having done a good job in these times.
Okay. Thank you so much, all the panelists, for your valuable suggestions and comments. Over to you, Pranita, for taking the further proceedings.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, our panelists. I would now like to invite our special guest, Dr. Rajesh Kharach, Dean Faculty of Humanities, University of Mumbai, to please give us his concluding remarks for this 3-hour plus session that we have conducted today. Sir, the floor is yours. Sir?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute.
Okay, sir, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Kaash Foundation, Professor Akash Jadhav, and then Professor Smita Shukla, Madam, Alkesh Dine Modi, Management Director.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. We can't see you, sir. We can only hear you.
I was asked to switch off the video, so I switched off the video.
Oh, no, sir.
Okay.
Please switch on the video.
Can you see me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you once again, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Professor Avkash Jadhav. Thank you, Professor Smita Shukla. Thank you, fellow panelists who have been delivering these lectures and the presentations on proposed academic collaboration with the industries. This session or this program has come really timely because there was a really need to have these kind of collaborations with the academic institutions as well as the industries. Unfortunately, actually, I was not there for last few sessions, so I can't give a concluding remark what was said. But then I can share my views, what I'm thinking, what are my thoughts about the proposed academic collaborations and the industry. Let me say, uh, uh, one thing, as far as India is concerned, the academicians, they are not getting
I'm
their
really
due
sorry,
because they
but
have
we
been
can't see you.
actually dragged along with the system, whether it's a political system or economic system. Okay? So academicians have been, you can't hear me.
No, so there was a slight glitch, so we couldn't see you for 2 minutes there, but we can see and hear you now.
Should we start it again?
No, sir, we heard you so far. We just couldn't see you for 2 minutes, but you can please continue now.
Okay. What I was saying, in India, I'll just speak 5 to 7 minutes or maximum 10 minutes. In India, academicians have been dragged either by the political systems or by the economic system. So there is hardly any kind of collaboration which we are thinking through this webinar, international webinar, or this conference. There is a need to actually to take really care of these collaboration because this is very essential. If you see all the developed countries or the progressive countries, or you can visit Singapore, South Korea, or Europe or America, wherever you can find the academicians, they have been taken into consideration for each and everything, whether it is a policy making, whether it's industrial collaboration, industrial development, economic developments, they have been their due. And recently you can see the German Chancellor's interview about the academicians and the role of teachers. Okay, so this is the one aspect. Secondly, in India itself, okay, we can understand India is a developing country. We yet to reach or arrive to the level of the either Singapore, China, or South Korea, or any other countries. Okay, there are certain reasons. One, I would like to cite it, what I heard from the one of the fellow panelists, Patil sir, Makarand Patil sir, about the collaboration, Tata's, he was referring and all that. Tata's, see, number one, but there is no one after Tata who can really vouch, who can really take the academician into considerations. Okay, you can see in Pune next to the Wadia College, there is a Tata Management Research Training Center where actually these people are trained. But how many training centers we have? Maybe Hindustan Petroleum, somewhere in the Bombay-Pune highway, like that. So what I was saying, why we are lacking the collaboration between academicians and the industries. First thing, we don't have the research culture. In India, the academicians, they are hardly bothered about their research or the research output. This is the one. Secondly, we don't have the infrastructure facilities for pursuing the research, whether it's a field base or empirical base. They can go visit, provide all the facilities. There is nothing. You have to do everything on your own. Okay. Third, I think about the resources, the crunch of resources. See, whatever the salary you are getting, you have to pursue your research. There is no special or extra funding given to the academicians. Maybe there is small funding that runs into the few thousands only. Where you work with the other countries and they pay you in the dollars or the euros, even as a consultant. In India, they give maximum 10,000. Unfortunately, most of the universities, they don't go beyond the 1 lakh rupees for the major project or minor research project. What you are going to do that? Even you can't buy those books because one book costs at least 10,000 rupees. 10 book खरीदोगे तो 1 lakh खत्म हो गया. How can you do that research? Okay, this is the one. Then the institutional support. The institutional support is also missing to the academicians where actually they are posted or where they are working. So if you continue to create the knowledge hub for the academicians, naturally they are going to produce something which may be helpful for the policy making as well as the industrial development. Okay, these are the few things which I thought I can share with you, because I can tell you, like recently the Deutsche Bank has hired many people from South Asia because they wanted to introduce the new branches in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. And they were not getting the people from South Asia region. They hired the people from the Heidelberg Institute of South Asia, America, UK, and Singapore Institute for South Asian Studies. Okay, to introduce their banks in South Asia. Another example, recently after the post-Maoist political system in Nepal, they wanted to encourage the tourism industry. So they could not hire the people from Nepal or India. They had to hire the people from Singapore, where the people, Singaporean person who's working on Nepal while sitting in Singapore half of the year is spending in Nepal, half of the year in Singapore, National University of Singapore. And they hire those people and they invest their money in the tourism industry. Third example about the Bhutan. Bhutan wanted to have this thing, cultural tourism. So what they'll do, they'll go to the China or any other Buddhist countries where the Buddhism which has originated from India, nowhere Indians have been considered by the Bhutan. Okay, so this kind of research is missing in India, and we are not able to provide this collaboration. Lastly, we can give a very good example, like we have so many people who are graduate in the pharmaceutical industries or the agriculture industries. Where are we? How many pharmaceutical or pharmacists have been consulted during the COVID, or how many people they have consulted from the agro industries during this whole crisis, famine crisis? There is nothing. So I think we must come forward. We must address these issues, bring all the academicians, provide all these facilities, inculcate the culture of these doing the scientific research based on the methodology, empirical methodology has to be implemented. Then only you are able to bring something, a kind of collaboration. Last point, it was about the alumni, which I have said, and recently Mumbai University has opened their website for Mumbai University alumni. Unfortunately, I am not a alumni of Mumbai University. I am from JNU. So I can just only see what is happening. The alumni of Mumbai University, and Mumbai is a commercial city, industrial city. We have next door, we have Pimpri Chinchwad, where you can find the industries. Also in Pune, or you go further forward to Aurangabad, the other cities in Nashik. So you can see the periphery of this Mumbai. Okay, are we going to cater these alumni's interests, barring IITs? The Mumbai University is either, whether it is a VJTI, Management Institute, or UDCT, the present day ICT, and take their opinion for the development of the industries. This is what I thought I can share my views. Okay? And I think I can stop here, and thank you once again for giving me opportunity to share some views, though maybe it is critical. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Before we conclude with the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Kaash Jadhav, founder trustee of Kaash Foundation and director, Center for Academic and Professional Development, to please say a few words.
Thank you, Pranati. I have a small quote for all our eminent speakers: Nachiket Naik, Paresh Sheth, Amit Goenka, Makarand Patil. This is a quote by Edward Gibbon. A heart to resolve, a head to contrive, and a hand to execute is what these four panelists have displayed, not only in their speeches but also in their real life as such. And they, in fact, certainly come as a very strong hope and scope for the industry as well as for the youth who are currently going to venture out to the market in search of employment. Their words have not only inspired many, but has also perhaps given the insight that how you can go about and how things definitely will recover in the due course and how you should be prepared as such. As Epicurus, the Greek philosopher, had said once, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. And I think the four panelists have few wants, and that's why they have been so successful in their life and in their career. And I'm sure many would try to follow them and would try to follow the experiments and also would try to live by the anecdotes and live by the words they have said today. Arthur Claw, the British author, had said once, the only way of finding the limits of the possible is by going beyond them into the impossible. Kaash Foundation has always tried to venture out beyond the periphery, has always tried to go into those areas and those arenas where very few had tried to tread into. And I think this endeavor shall continue, this movement shall continue. Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute has collaborated with us in this entire event for that matter. Special thanks to Kavita for taking up the initiative for the entire planning and the process. And also special thanks to Dr. Smita Shukla, the Aisha in charge director of Alkesh Dinesh Modi, for being as encouraging as always and being there in all the possible way support. So we once again thank all the panelists on behalf of Kaash Foundation and Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute. We welcome all suggestions given by the viewers. We will take them at personal level. We'll pass on some of the questions which you have posed to us. Due to the constraint of time, we cannot take more questions, but definitely we welcome all the suggestions and all your comments which you've been posting consistently on the YouTube for that matter. Thank you very much. Thank you once again. Over to Pranati.
Thank you, sir. As sir very rightly mentioned, we are very grateful to many people for the success of this conference. We'd like to express our gratitude to our collaborative partner, ATMIS University of Mumbai. And we'd also like to thank Dr. Rajesh Kharat, the Dean, Faculty of Humanities, University of Mumbai. We would also like to thank our esteemed panelists, Mr. Makarand Patil, Mr. Amit Goenka, Mr. Paresh Sheth, and Mr. Nachiket Nayak. And we would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Vishesh and Shashank sir for providing us with the opportunity to promote inclusivity in all aspects, making this conference the first of its kind on YouTube Live, where we had a sign language interpreter, Matilda. We would also like to thank her a lot. She has been exceedingly helpful to us and tirelessly has been helping our audience. Lastly, but not the least, we would like to thank our viewers and well-wishers. Without you, it would not have been possible to have such conferences. As a small reminder, the feedback form is given in the description box, and we welcome you to provide us with all your suggestions. The feedback form shall accept responses only for 3 hours once the conference ends. Once again, a huge thank you to everybody who enabled us for this conference. This is Pranati Trivedi, the team member of Kaash Foundation and lead reporter of Kaash Connect, which is a quarterly newsletter, and I sign off from the 7th International Conference hosted by Kaash Foundation CAPE along with ADMIS Mumbai on strategy to strengthen industry academy collaboration for emerging economy. Thank you.